In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the new blog and feedback module, what it is, what it can be used for, and how easy it is to set up. The blog and feedback module has two aspects, as suggested by the name. First, you can create blogs in your site with all the features you'd expect from a blog. And secondly, you have the ability to allow your website's visitors to give feedback to your blog, but that's just the start, because the feedback aspect can be applied to any aspect of your site that you'd like. For example, they could be articles, pages, or products. So what I'll show in this video is a fully realized blog, including giving feedback. And then I'll also show you uses of the feedback aspect of the module in other contexts. And I'll show you the basics of the setup in Tangora Manager. I have up on screen a blog page where we have an overview of a number of blog entries spread over a couple of pages here, which I can browse with the built-in navigation. And we can see that we can click on a headline and read the full blog article. And if I scroll down to the end, we could also see that there are various comments here that have been made to the blog article, along with the commentator's assessment of the article, as represented either by a thumbs up or a thumbs down sign. And then there's a form where I could send in my own comment and give the article my own thumbs up or thumbs down. So if I go ahead and just write a comment and give a thumbs up, then we can see that it immediately comes up on the page. And because we've set up our feedback in such a way that a user can only send in one comment, the form disappears. You also have the ability to require approval of the feedback, incidentally, so that the comment would first appear after the comment has been approved internally. Back in the overview, we'll also notice a variety of ways we could search for blog entries based on a date range or a search word, or our built-in tag cloud function. Now, I'd like to emphasize that the placement and configuration of these different elements is up to you. So I could have decided to add search criteria, and I could decide how many blog entries can be shown at a time, and I could even have made my entire article and the feedback to the article visible in their entirety in the overview and skip the detailed view altogether. I also have full control over the graphic design thanks to the powerful and easy-to-use point-and-click design tool, Visual Designer. Before I show you how this blog has been set up in Tangora Manager, let me just show you another couple of applications of the feedback function of the blog and feedback module, this time unrelated to a blog. Here I have on screen an overview of recipes, and you'll notice that each recipe is rated with a number of stars between 1 and 5. And if I go into a detailed view of a given recipe, you'll notice too that there's an interface whereby I could give my own evaluation of the recipe. This functionality has been configured via my blog and feedback module, and then added directly to the overview and detail layouts of my recipes database page. The graphics and the scale of my feedback is up to me, so I could just as well have had 10 chef toques or frying pans or whatever graphic I wanted, or a simple thumbs up, thumbs down as I used in my blog. And I could even have attached a comment form to my recipes if I wanted to get people's written feedback as well as their rating. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because I could apply the ability of giving feedback to just about anything I'd like to. They could be images, news items, products, events, even entire pages, and the list goes on. In fact, just to round off with one last example in the usage of the blog and feedback module, I've set up a feedback to a specific page. In this case, a page that describes our product guarantee. In here, we could also see that in addition to collecting comments and a rating, we also show a rating summary by average and broken down in terms of how many people have rated the page with a given rating. We have, however, decided not to publish who has commented and what they've said, and instead opted simply to show the rating statistics. So as you can see, you can mold the behavior of the module to your specific needs. So that's a skinny on what the blog and feedback module can be used for. Let's take a brief look in Tangora Manager and see how easy it is to set up. Let's start with the blog aspect of the module. I have open on the screen the contents of the blog module, and we can see here that we have all my blog entries. And I can add tags and categories to my blog up here under the tags and categories areas. Tags are keywords that can be applied to blog posts across different categories, and categories can be used in a couple of different ways. You might choose to have each category correspond to a conceptual blog, differentiated by theme or author, for example, but you might just as well use them as selectable categories within the same blog. It's up to you. I could create a blog post by hitting Create, and then it's just a matter of filling in the content and hitting OK. Then, if the Publish checkbox is checked, my blog entry is posted. Now I want to show you how we've configured our comment and feedback snippets. They're configured along with other sorts of snippets that one can create in Tangora under Design and Layout, Snippets, Comments. And here we can see that my blog rating snippet has a point-and-click interface where I can configure my layout. Here I have, amongst other things, an option to send an email back to the person who's commented on a given aspect of your site, and the email can at the same time be sent to an internal contact in your organization to help you keep track of the comments coming in. Furthermore, there are options that require comments to be approved, and I could also prevent the same user from rating the same thing more than once, as mentioned before. I could also choose here if my feedback should be a scale, and if it should be a dig or dig not, and I'm able to choose my own graphics from my image archive. On the blog page, here under the Pages area again, if I check my settings, I can choose both a comment snippet and a rating snippet. The difference here is that a comment snippet is the full version, while the rating snippet just shows the graphic rating part. Here, I've decided not to use a rating snippet, but insofar as I've chosen the comment snippet, I then have the ability to place the comment snippet there where I please, which I can illustrate by going into the Overview tab and creating a layout with Tangora's new Module Layout wizard. And you can see here that comments is available for inclusion in our layout. We've already seen how feedback can be displayed in your site in many different ways, but it's also worth mentioning here that you have a complete overview internally under the feedback area under modules. Here, you could use SmartView to investigate your comments. So perhaps you'd like to see comments on a particular recipe or a particular product, or maybe you'd like to take a look at a specific user's comments across a range of different areas on your site. So the blog and feedback module gives you a full-fledged blog, replete with categories, tags, and tag clouds, and it gives you much more. It allows you to get feedback on just about anything you open up for your visitors, from blogs to products to pages. You determine what your guests can give their feedback on and how you'll display their feedback. Thank you for watching.